Hello. My dogs are taking off. Um, so I had my baby. He's right here. He's 13 days old today. Tomorrow he'll be 2 weeks. His name is Cannon Jacoby. You can see his name up on the wall right there. Cannon Jacoby. So I'll tell you guys about my labor and delivery story. It kind of went pretty crazy. It was kind of Dylan. The dogs love him, by the way. So, where do I start? So my last vlog that I had was I think I was still 39 weeks pregnant, and my due date was October 26th. I ended up going overdue, and I had a OB appointment on Tuesday, the 29th of October. Just a standard OB appointment. They kind of wanted to check me. Everything was fine, as far as, my blood pressure was still good. I didn't have any signs of preeclampsia or anything like that. And then my OB was telling me about how she was going to be on call only until Thursday, which was Halloween, I think. Yeah, Thursday was Halloween. And then she was going to be gone. She wouldn't be on vacation, but she just wouldn't be back at the hospital. So that would mean that another doctor would have to deliver my baby. And to me, I really wanted her to deliver him, but if it was going to come down to it, if I, was still okay to go to 41 or 42 weeks pregnant, she was going to let me, as long as everything was okay with him. She said that I could go. She scheduled an ultrasound for me that afternoon, so I had to leave the doctor's office and then come back that afternoon. And she wanted to check his fluid levels, and if he had good fluid, that she would let me go overdue, and she would just kind of check. But she said the risk gets greater with age. I'm 35, so the risk gets greater for stillbirths, which really scared me. And I really wanted him to come into this world in a healthy way. I didn't want to have to be induced or anything like that. I had a total birth plan. I had written out typed up 5 different pages to hand to nurses, if I was to go into labor on my own. And I was just really fearful about what was going to really happen. Sorry, this lighting is really, really weird. I don't know if you can even see me very well, but anyway, we ended up going to the ultrasound that afternoon. The ultrasound tech did say that his fluid was a little low, but she didn't go into detail, obviously, because I don't think they're supposed to. So within an hour of me getting home, my doctor had called me and said that the fluid was too low. I had to be induced that night, and I panicked. I did not want to be induced. It was totally not in my birth plan, which obviously when you have a birth plan, you kind of just throw it out the window because there's really no, it's just not going to go the way that you want it to. You're lucky if it does, but all that matters is that you have a healthy baby. So I ended up coming home and panicking. My parents had already come and picked up Lila, my little pug, and we just had to figure out where Dylan was gonna go. He ended up going to this doggy daycare place that's in town here, and we ended up rushing around. I called my husband; he was at work, and he came home, and he had called my stepson's mom and had her come and pick up Jordan, my stepson. She was there within 15-20 minutes, which was really nice because I was fearful that she was going to take a long time and then we wouldn't get to the hospital in time or something. They wanted us there before 7. We got there about 6 o'clock, but they really wanted us there by 4, she said. And I was like, well, I don't know if we can get there that quick, but I didn't really think anything of it. I just thought, well, okay, we're going to be induced, so it's not going to happen right away anyway. I've been told that, I was only dilated at a 2 and for a week. So it was kind of one of those things where I just didn't know how fast it would progress. I obviously never had a baby before, so I didn't know. Um, so I ended up, we got to the hospital at 6. I called my parents and told them that we were on our way to the hospital. It just got crazy. So we got there, um, and I forgot so many things. I forgot hairbrush. I forgot my contact solution. I forgot my glasses. I was just rushing out the door. We had everything else already, but my husband had already taken Dylan to the doggy daycare place. Um, so when we got there, a little did we know there was like 6 or 7 moms that were already in labor. So we basically got shoved into an exam room, which was like the size of a closet. It was like literally smaller than this room. It had a bathroom, no shower, had a sink, no mirror. It was just an exam room. It was just basically like a room that there was really nothing in the room like that you could. It's just a room that they check, like if moms are having like they think their fluid is leaking or something like that, they send moms there so they can do a cervical exam and send them home. So you're not meant to labor there. You're not meant to sleep there overnight. And they didn't even have computers in there to check my contractions or anything like that. So it was really crazy. And it was really frustrating because I was like freaking out thinking that I was going to have him in that room. Basically, they came in that night. The nurses came in and they put Cytotec up behind my cervix, which is like a pill. And I had read about that, and it was horrible. Like all the things that you read about things like that can cause abortions, whatever. But that's only in early stages of pregnancy, not like when you're in labor or like almost getting ready to be in labor. But anyway, they put that in. Nothing really happened. It was supposed to soften my cervix. Nothing really happened. Literally, we didn't sleep all night. Like my poor husband had to sleep on the floor. There was no pillows, extra pillows, so he was like folding up like hospital gowns and putting them behind his head. He brought a pillow, I think, but he left it in the car or something. I don't know. My mom came. My dad dropped my mom off, which ended up being kind of a nightmare that she didn't drive her own car. But my dad dropped my mom off at the hospital. He had pneumonia, so he had to drive back home. My mom ended up sleeping in the ER waiting room because there was no place for her to sleep, no couches. I mean, there was a chair, but it was like a sit up, like really sturdy, like sturdy back chair. So she couldn't sit in that. My husband couldn't sit in that to sleep. So it was kind of crazy. And I didn't sleep at all either because, people are just coming in and checking you all night long. They had, checked my blood. I guess they have to do like blood analysis to see if you eventually have to have like a blood transfusion. They have to test your blood to make sure what kind of blood you are. So they had stabbed me so many times. I think it's kind of fading now. Oh, good job, Cannon. He just tooted. But I had bruises like all over me from where they were trying to draw blood. They were pumping me full of like all different kinds of stuff. I had like a really nasty line here of like where they were gonna put Pitocin in me the next morning or that night. I thought originally, so that was hard to sleep with this nasty huge needle in my hand all night. It was miserable. Nurses were just coming in to check your vitals all night, like check your blood pressure and do a cervical exam, and nothing really happened. So they kept telling me all night long that and then our TV didn't work in the middle of the night, and like we couldn't turn it off, we couldn't turn it down, we couldn't turn the channel, we couldn't turn the volume up, nothing. And so they had like an engineer come in at like 4 o'clock in the morning. My husband was trying to sleep, and he was like talking in his sleep, talking about cheeseburgers or something. I don't know what he was talking. He was like, "I'm gonna go get some cheeseburgers" or something. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." I'm so out of it. I'm just like, I think I was just running on adrenaline basically. So the engineer guy comes in there. He's like, "First kid?" I'm like, yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I have 5." He's like, "You're all good kids." Ho 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 ho. And I'm like, "Okay, well, please leave." He got our TV fixed, whatever. But anyway, it was just random. So the next morning, they kept telling me that they're gonna have a new shift of people come in to give me Pitocin, which I was scared about Pitocin because I'd heard negative things about Pitocin too. So it's like everything that I didn't want, I ended up getting. So My computer keeps timing out here. Sorry. So we ended up in the morning at 7. Nothing happened. They had a new shift of people come in at 8, and my doctor got there at 8 o'clock. She came in and said, "This is not our plan to keep you in this room. This is just an exam room. There's a girl next door that's having twins. They're telling me I can't give you Pitocin, administer Pitocin until she has her twins, which I don't know when that could be. She hasn't even started like all the way yet, whatever." So I was freaking out. Like, I was thinking I was going to have to be in this stupid room all day waiting for this girl next door to have twins. And I was like, who is the powers that be above you that is telling my OB that she can't? I don't know. It was just really frustrating. So she's like, hopefully it's before noon. And so that was like at 8:30 or 9. And so we ended up ordering breakfast. They let me eat, by the way. Like, we ended up getting breakfast, which was really nice because I had heard that like they don't let you eat anything. They just give you like Jello and like clear fluids and stuff like it, like broth and stuff. So I had brought like root beer candy and like Werther's Originals and stuff like that to like suck on, just so I had something. And I thought I was just gonna get ice chips. They were giving me full glasses of water to drink and everything, which was nice, and juice, and I had coffee and everything. Anyway, at like I think 10:30 or 11, they came in and said, "Okay, we're gonna start Pitocin." I'm like, "Okay." So they hooked me up. It was kind of cold, kind of stung going into my hand, and I thought it was going to be like an instant thing for some reason, like I would go into like full blown active labor or something, but nothing happened. Within an hour, they said, "Okay, we're moving you." She's had the twins, so they brought me to this beautiful room. I'll post some pictures on here too. And they brought me to this beautiful room, and it had big bay windows, and it was a beautiful day. It was, October 30th, so it was the day before Halloween. It looked like a golf course outside. It had a huge, nice hide-a-bed, a full bathroom with a full laboring bathtub if you wanted to take a jacuzzi tub. It was just a really nice room. After being in that little tiny closet the whole time, it was like really nice. Oh, and on top of that, I ended up getting a doula right before. I had no plans to get a doula. I just didn't think. Oh, Cannon, he keeps pulling my hair. I didn't think I would be able to afford a doula, but at the last minute, one of my girlfriends told me to contact this girl who was getting her DONA certification, and she was going to do it for free. She just needed to see so many active live births. And be a participant. And so she was like so sweet. Her name was Morgan. And she was really young. She's only 22, but she'd been a doula for like 7 months or something. So anyway, I met her the day that I went into labor. So that was kind of awkward, but she was so nice. She brought me honey sticks. She made cookies for the nurses. She was just like super sweet. Anyway, so we're in this room, and they give me Pitocin. They check me. I'm like at a 3 at that point. Anyway, just kept getting like throughout the day. I guess I don't even know. I didn't write anything down. My doula is supposed to come this week to kind of give me my birth story, because she actually took notes throughout everything. My mom and my husband were there, and I'm really glad I had it. If like you guys are able to find somebody who is like getting certified to be a doula, they do it for free. We ended up giving her a tip, but pretty generous tip, but we didn't have to pay for one. Like usually they're like $600, but we didn't have to pay for her because she was getting her certification. But I really recommend it. My mom was like off the cuff crazy. She's super emotional. She didn't like seeing me in pain. My husband is like was really, really supportive and really sweet. I was really proud of him to step up and help me throughout everything. But I'm just really glad there was like an objective person there that wasn't like family, that could like see me through each contraction and get me to where I wanted to be. And she heard me out. She would listen, and it's just kind of like she's an objective person to be an advocate basically for you when you're going through things. So if like you're not listening to maybe a doctor or nurse what they're saying in the background, but she kind of overhears it, and she would be like, "Oh, did you know they're gonna do this next or whatever?" So anyway, so my contractions started to get heavier, but they were never bad to me. until the very, very end. Apparently, they kept telling me I was made for this, and that I was at like a 5 or 6. I was dilated at 5 or 6, and I was still like talking and walking, and I would each contraction just felt like mild menstrual cramps to me. They didn't hurt that bad, and I would get up and go to the bathroom and like everything, and I was still fine. Then they came in and said, okay, we're going to break your water and we're upping your Pitocin. They start your Pitocin at 2, whatever that is, and they go all the way to a 10. Little did I know, this was like, he was born at 7:02 p.m. So little did I know, I think at like 6 or something, they had raised my Pitocin to an 8. And then they said, we're going to break your water. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want my water to be broken. But that was another thing that wasn't in my birth plan, but because they said they needed to get, like with his low fluid level, we needed to get him born. So I just trusted my OB. I just knew that she heard me out. She knew exactly what I wanted, and she just wanted the best for me and for Cannon. So I trusted her. So they ended up, I thought breaking my water would hurt really bad too, and that does not hurt. They have this tool that looks like a plastic knitting needle. It's like probably about this long. And cervical exams hurt way worse than the little things they did until the very end. So they stuck that thing up inside you, and they kind of like, oh, and she also ruptured my membranes. She like stirred things up after she did the side attack. So back up. After she did that, she like ruptured my membranes or swept my membranes or whatever. That hurt. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing in there? Oh my gosh. Anyway, that just them doing a cervical exam sometimes was more painful than anything. So when she broke my water, back to where we were. When she broke my water, it just felt like I peed myself, like super warm pee just dripping down. I could feel it, and it wasn't very much. Like I could tell it was a little bit, but it wasn't very much. And they said as I started moving around and stuff, it'd probably come out more. So they said it was clear fluid because, which I was so happy about because like a while back I had remembered that I thought that he had a bowel movement inside me. Like I was hearing all these weird noises. Like at 37 or 38 weeks pregnant, I would hear these like weird farting noises. I don't know how to describe it. And I guess it just was, maybe it was him tooting. I don't know. But I thought he was having like a bowel movement. And my sister, when she was 2 weeks overdue, when my mom was pregnant with her, and she swallowed meconium in the womb, and she had to be like stay in the hospital for an extra day or two, and she got sick and everything. So I was just really fearful of that, and happy that the fluid was clear. So after that happened, it seemed like within 30 minutes I was getting like more contractions. Like it was getting more, like it was harder to talk through them. I would have to like close my eyes and concentrate. I got on a birthing ball and try to roll around, and like I had to have complete silence, and people were talking and I'd be like, shut up, and like trying to tell them to quiet down. And I just felt kind of crazy. And then they're like, well, do you want to get up and stand up? So I would stand up, and just all of a sudden more fluid would come out. I'd be dripping all over the floor, and it was like marble floor or something. So tile or marble or something. So I was like slipping in my amniotic fluid. I got up and went to go to the bathroom and had contractions on the toilet, and that was painful. And then I walked back. Oh, I also had group B strep, so I had to be hooked up to a like an IV line. Plus, I had the Pitocin continually coming into me, so I always had to have this IV thing that I carried around to go to the bathroom. So my husband or my mom or somebody would help me get to the bathroom, and I'd go. Anyway, so when it got so crazy, all of a sudden I was like really stressed. I was like, I really need. Oh, another thing is, so they hook you up with all these things in your stomach to check for his heart rate, or his or her, whoever, if you have a boy or girl baby. And then they also check your contractions on your stomach. So towards the end, when he's moving further and further down, it's hard for them to check his heart rate because his heart and his little body is already in my pelvis. So they had to do this thing that I learned about in our birthing class, which is like this long pick thingy, and it has like a little coil at the end, and they put it into the top of his head, and I did not want that at all. I like actually screw it kind of into the roof, the top of his head, and I was like, oh my god, it's going to be in his brain or something. And they said no, it's very common, just goes in the very top of his head, and they can check his heart rate that way. And I was like not wanting to do that, but they said that's the only way for them to check his heart rate. It's called an internal fetal monitor, and they did that. That ended up falling out. They had to do it again. That was really painful. Just anything that they had to do down there, because my contractions were getting so close together. They were like, 60 seconds apart. They never had very much time to do it. So it's like they ended up having to do it while I was having like a really painful contraction. All I can tell you that it feels like is like, it felt like he was going like this. Like I could tell my cervix was fully open, getting more opened. And it was like he was a gopher, just like drilling down. It was like really painful, and I would like basically writhe in pain. I was on the edge of my bed, and my husband would get at the base of my feet and push on my feet for me, so I'd have like a base to push off of. And it was really, really painful. And so then I ended up asking for an epidural. That's another thing I didn't want, but I was like, I didn't know. I didn't want to say completely no to medical intervention. But at the same time, I was at the point where I just needed something. I was like thinking, okay, well, I've made it this far. I've done really well with all this pain tolerance, and I'm going to get an epidural because I want to feel good and have like I want to be able to remember everything and not like, be in so much pain for everything. So I'm going to get an epidural. They said, the anesthesiologist is 20 minutes away. He's on call. So do you want Phenerol, which is another medication I didn't want to do. They said they just did inject it into the same line where my Pitocin would go. And they said it would take the edge off. And I was thinking, okay, well, I need something. I'm like freaking out. Like I'm like writhing in pain. At that point also, they also said, before I get an epidural, because usually when you get an epidural, your blood pressure drops. So they said, we have to pump you full of like fluids. I don't know if it's saline or what kind of fluid it is, but they had to then start pushing all this stuff into my body. So then I was so swollen and bloated, like my arms are still kind of bloated. Like it's just crazy how much, plus I had a lot of fluid retention during my pregnancy. So I've lost quite a bit of weight. Like I'll stand up and show you, but at the same time, like I'm still really, really just bloated everywhere. But they've had to pump fluid into me before he got there. So they were doing that. They gave me the Phenerol. It did nothing to me. All it did was made me feel drunk. Like I felt like I was drunk through, like not through the contractions because I was vivid and like awake and alert of what was going on. But between the contractions, I was like, ugh, just like worn out. Like every contraction was making me crazy. So then, the guy finally got there, and I did not like our anesthesiologist. He basically they make you sign this form that's like feels like a death warrant, a death wish or something. And I knew it was going to be like that. And it was said, this may cause paralysis, it may cause stroke, it may cause heart attack, it may cause death, it may cause a lot of things, it may cause fetal death or something. I don't know. I just read through it, and I was like having a contraction while I was reading through it. My eyes were like, felt like I was going cross-eyed. And I was so fearful that he was gonna like paralyze me or something. So he got behind me, and I had to sit way back on the bed of the hospital bed, and he started washing my back, and it was really cold. I'm assuming they put like iodine or something like that on your back. And I could feel him putting this tape and everything around me. And then he said he was going to have to do it while I was having a contraction. And for some reason, I thought that when you have an epidural, like I thought that it's instant, like instantly you go numb, instantly you feel relief. I thought, okay, this is probably going to prolong my labor. Maybe like I didn't know how dilated it was because they didn't do a cervical exam before he gave me the epidural. So, because I told him, let me get numb first, and then you can go down there and check whatever. Because I thought it was just an instant thing. So, while he's putting it in my back, I feel a little bit of it didn't even hurt. Like, honestly, he just gives me a little bit of pinprick. It feels kind of like he kind of pinched my back with my skin or something on my back, but that was it. It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt when he put the needle in. Nothing hurt. So if you end up getting an epidural, don't worry. It does not hurt. It just more pissed me off because while I'm having contractions, I wanted everybody to be completely quiet and just do their work, whatever they need to check on a computer or whatever. I did not want any talking, and he did not respect that. Like, he was talking to my nurse about running, about like being a jogger or something, and I was like so pissed off. I was like, "Can you please be quiet?" My husband was like grabbing my face and like, "Shh, shh." I'm like, "Oh my god, what are they talking about?" Oh, they're like whispering and da. And he's like, "It's okay, sweetie." I'm like, "I'm not numb yet." He's like, "Okay, I'm done." And I'm like, "I'm not numb yet." He's like, "It takes a little while." And I'm like, "How long?" And he's like, "I don't know. It could take, everybody's different. It could take a little bit longer." And I'm like, "Oh my God, oh my God." And I just kept, I was having a panic attack. They ended up having to give me oxygen. So I was having like more of a panic attack. So that was freaky. And then I ended up, they turned me around. They said, "Okay, we're going to do a cervical exam and see how dilated you are." As soon as my OB got in the room, she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're a 10. You need to push." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not numb. I can't. I'm not numb. I can't do this." And she's like, "Heidi, you're going to be able to do this. You can do this. You can do this." And my nurse was like, "You can do this. You're made to do this, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh my God." All of a sudden, it got crazy. Like 12 or 15 nurses came into my room at once. My huge room was like filled with people. My doula and my mom and everybody came back in because everybody had to leave when I got the epidural except my husband. My OB started putting scrubs on, like putting everything on, putting a mask on. They turned all these bright lights on, and they told me to push my legs back. And my mom was on one side and my husband was on the other, and they were pushing my legs back. And they said through each contraction, I had to push and bear down really hard, and they would count to 10 through each push. So like a contraction was like a minute long or something. So I would have to push 3 times through each contraction. That was crazy. Like, I have never pushed so hard in my life. It feels like you're trying to push through your butt, like you're gonna go poop. And it did not feel good. And I could also feel him coming down. Like, I could feel him going like this. Like he was really trying to come out. He was ready. He was ready to come out. So I only pushed 8 times, miraculously, out of everything. And I never felt my epidural. I did this completely natural. That's why I almost think it's like a natural birth. It was, to me, it was, even with everything that happened, I had to be induced. It wasn't natural, obviously, for that. They put Cytotec. They gave me Pitocin. They gave me Fentanyl. They gave me like all this stuff I didn't want. They broke my water. But you know what? In the grand scheme of things, to me, it was still a natural birth because I didn't have any medical intervention. To me, the fentanyl didn't work. The epidural never worked. The only thing that happened after I gave birth to him was my right leg from my knee up to my groin was like tingly and numb. But the rest of my body, my lower leg, my other leg, my whole pelvis area, all the places that they say is supposed to go numb, my back, I could walk within like 10-20 minutes of having him. I was walking. So yeah, I had him natural. To me, I had him natural. So anyway, my OB got down there and she was like opening me up like this. That hurt really bad. I was like screaming. I didn't even recognize my voice. I was in an altered state, put it that way. She was able to get his body and his head, everything out at once. So I did not have to push. I only pushed, like I said, through 8 contractions, and he popped out. And he's beautiful. And I cried and cried and cried and cried. He was born at 7:02 p.m. He was 7 pounds 3 ounces. He was 20 inches long, and he is perfect. He does not even have a birthmark. He has lots of hair. I'll show you him in a little bit. He is such a good baby. Um, he only wakes up and cries when he's hungry or if he has a dirty diaper, or that's pretty much it. He's just a sweet baby. He's just a sweet, sweet little boy. The other thing is, I tried to breastfeed. Breastfeeding is no joke. It's not. It doesn't come natural. It comes natural to some people, but it didn't come natural to me. I took every precaution, read up about it. I did placenta encapsulation, and that has been difficult. I tried to nurse him in the hospital. My colostrum was there, but he was constantly hungry. We were there for 3 nights total. So the night that we got induced, and then we stayed the night he was born, and then also Halloween night. And then we came home November 1st on Friday, and my midwife came over and picked up my placenta, which was kind of crazy because we got to take it home. And she gave us like a little science lesson and showed us like where he was in his little sac and how much room he really had. And she took it to get encapsulated. And honestly, guys, that's probably the best thing I could have done for myself is that placenta encapsulation. I had really bad baby blues through that weekend because I was trying to nurse him and I was so exhausted. I didn't sleep at all throughout the whole hospital visit. I did not sleep. So that was really, really tough. My mom ended up staying with Cannon and I at the hospital. My husband had to go home because my mom was kind of, I don't know. I won't go into it, but my mom was kind of selfish and she ended up staying there. So my husband and I didn't get that time one-on-one as a family in the beginning. But anyway, we ended up coming home that day and I was just really, really had bad kind of like baby blues, and because I couldn't nurse him, he just wasn't able to latch. And I've gone to the lactation consultant so much this last week, and I've done all sorts of different things like the SNS, the supplemental nursing system. I've tried nipple shields, just pretty much everything. It's just really, really hard, and he's not latching. So I've been pumping, and I've had to give him formula. And I'll be honest, it's not what I wanted to do either. That's another thing of my birth plan I didn't want to do. I wanted to be able to breastfeed, and I thought placenta encapsulation and taking fenugreek, and I also have postnatal pills, which helps with weight loss and lactation. I thought I was going to be one of those moms that's like has so much milk I could donate it. My supply is really low. I only make like a half ounce to 3/4 of an ounce, which with each time I pump, and it's really, really depressing. But I give him what I have, and I can't knock myself for that. So it's not what I wanted, but I just Lila's snoring over here, by the way. It's not what I wanted, but it's just the nature of everything that happens. So, but I've tried. I've really tried. I'm gonna try to keep pumping. I'm exhausted. I like wake up every hour and a half to 2 hours. Having a baby is pretty crazy. It's like not what you think it would be, but anyway, we love him to pieces, and I just wanted to give you guys an update of everything. So I'll have to do more updates here soon. It's hard trying to get going throughout the day. Like here it's 5 o'clock here in Oregon, and I'm just now doing this video, and it's like pitch black outside almost already. But I'm a stay-at-home mom. I take care of my little boy now, so I'll show you what he looks like. He's really tiny. He was only 7 pounds 2 ounces. He lost like 4 ounces when we left the hospital. But this is Cameron. Got his binky in my mouth. I'll have to post some pictures. We just got his newborn photos. Hi, Cameron. We got his newborn photos done last week, and that was like a 4-hour session, and they came out beautiful. My wedding photographer was the one who did our newborn photos. So that was really special to have her do them. So we'll probably get our birth announcements out here shortly, but I have a beautiful little baby to be thankful for Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. So anyway, if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know, and I'll try to get some of his, oh, he's starting to wake up a little bit. Cannon. He's a good boy. He'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. So crazy. They grow up so fast. Anyway, well, you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.